So I broke my phone the other day and I had to go to the Apple store in my mall to get it fixed. It was a Wednesday and the mall was empty, but the Apple store was a complete zoo. After waiting for 15 minutes for someone to help me, I got a guy who was really nice and extremely apologetic for making me wait like that. He had to do some software updates on my phone, which was no big deal to me, but throughout that maybe 5-minute process, he apologized 2 or 3 more times and assured me that I would be able to use my phone again when it was done. Then, 10 minutes later, he came back, took it, and made a joke about how I would get it back tomorrow. He looked at me perplexed when I said, "Okay, that's fine," and then proceeded to apologize about the joke and that I shouldn't worry because it would actually only take 2 hours. He said I could play on the phones in the store while I waited or come back later, and asked me one more time if I needed to send any text or phone calls before he took it back for its phone repair surgery. I said no, he acted surprised, apologized again, and I went on my way to entertain myself in the mall for the next 2 hours. But this interaction stuck with me because the whole time I was thinking, are we all really this addicted to our phones? Is this the normal behavior where people get upset if it takes more than a day and people freak out if they can't send one more text or one more phone call before a quick repair? It was odd. But this was probably the first time that I was truly away from my phone, like not having it accessible at all, in God knows how long. And I quickly realized that living without a phone is a weird experience, even if only for a few hours. And it made me start to understand why people behave the way they do and why this guy acted like he did. I didn't see one lone shopper who wasn't buried in their screens while they were walking around the mall. I didn't see one clock that told me what the time was anywhere in the entire place. I saw QR codes for portable chargers, which to me is just really ironic because if you need a charger, you probably can't scan the QR code to begin with, but I don't even want to get into that. And most surprisingly of all, I saw people waiting in the mobile order line at the coffee shop playing on their phones while the main coffee service line was wide open. More people mobile ordered their coffee to not wait to make it to where the mobile order line took longer than actually waiting for the coffee. And while they were waiting, of course, they were playing Candy Crush on their phones. When I asked someone what the time was, they acted like I asked them to sacrifice their firstborn child, almost annoyed that a peasant like me would even dare to ask a question that I could easily answer by looking at the rectangular mirror that follows me around everywhere. I started to realize that the world these little mirrors give us is almost more alive than the real world. I noticed that the mall really did lack a lot of character when compared to those cool malls that I went to growing up. Every chair was full of people scrolling, people texting, looking down, craning their necks to see what exciting stuff was going on literally anywhere else in the world. What was the news? What did Donald Trump say today? What did my friends post about? Wow, this sure is a fun game and a great way to pass the time. It's like everyone in the mall was existing in their own version of the mall, creating their own virtual reality to escape from the physical space that they were occupying in the real world. Gray and beige everywhere, except for the screens. The thing is, we all know this. We all know that everyone, including me, is addicted to their phones. That going more than 2 hours without looking at it is like going 2 hours without opening your eyes. But not having one, and not having the option to use it as a tool or a form of entertainment while I walked around the environment that I didn't particularly enjoy being in for 120 minutes, made me realize that it's impossible to exist in the real world without simultaneously being tuned into the phone world as well. I was bored for the first time in a long time, and I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. Zoning out while drinking a coffee at a table made me self-conscious that I looked like a weirdo, like some kind of creep who was just sitting in the mall looking around waiting for someone to kidnap or something. I was worried that by not being on my phone, I stood out, and that everyone around me was skeptical if I was normal or not. When did being so focused on something happening somewhere else become the new normal? Do we even live in the present anymore? If you look back to your childhood, you probably remember that summers felt long. 3 months with no school, no structure, and no plans felt like a lifetime, and days would go by at a snail's pace. But as we get older, that just doesn't seem to happen anymore. I moved in with my girlfriend a year ago, and it feels like I just started living with her. 3 months was November, and God, so much has happened since then. Why do the days go so fast now, and why does it feel like it keeps speeding up? Well, after my adventures in the local mall, I realized that it's because of those damn phones. Every person, every group, every parent, every kid, every grandpa in that mall had checked their phones at least once within the last 10 minutes. Many were on them throughout the entire time that they were there. Groups of friends hanging out together silently while texting other people who were doing the same thing. Nobody living in the moment at all, so no wonder those moments pass us by. It's not normal to be so locked into what's going on in other places. You aren't supposed to always be connected with what's happening globally in every part of the world right this second. You aren't supposed to know what your friends are up to, everyone's promotions at work, and their life updates. The amount of information that we're taking in on a daily basis is actually absurd, and when you combine all of this external stimuli with the internal struggles of your life, and a never-ending amount of stimulation through virtual entertainment, you aren't even living in the real world anymore. You're so focused on other things that you don't even see the world around you at all, and days become meaningless. There is a lot of bad stuff going on in the world right now, and it genuinely makes me feel a bit depressed and worried about the future. I mean, if you look at the news for 1 second or visit the cesspool that is Twitter at least one time, it seems like we're all tearing ourselves apart. Outrage in every corner, conspiracy theories, the deeper meaning behind it all, the schemes that every big company is secretly trying to kill you, and just pure hatred and toxicity. Combining this with all the stuff that I mentioned a minute ago becomes a huge burden on your psyche, and the world just feels like it's not a welcoming place to be in. But even here, even with all of this undeniably bad stuff going on, the connectivity of it all through smartphones is intensifying it by 100-fold. Your brain isn't meant to be this stimulated, and you aren't meant to live like this. It's time to take a step back from it all and live with a bit of humanity. Prior to the internet, news came slowly. People didn't know that wars even ended until days after the battle stopped. Government decisions came in the paper, sometimes weeks later. You found out about the things your friends had been up to the next time that you saw them, and when other people were doing cool stuff, you probably didn't even know about it. You didn't bother with what strangers were up to. You didn't compare yourself to people you've never met. You didn't feel like you were competing with people from across the country or the world to get a date with a girl, and you didn't see live video feeds of every bad thing that ever happened. And I think this is what we should be aiming to do in 2026. I already know the argument against this mentality, and I've been criticized a lot for it. Well, Solace, if you don't know what's going on, then you're ignorant, and you need to pay attention to all of this stuff to make the world a better place for everyone. You need to know everyone's struggles, the geopolitics of the world, and the things that need to be fixed, or you're privileged and insensitive to people who have it worse than you. To be honest, I understand this argument, and I'm not even denying it, but I think it's important to maintain your own sanity as well. Is it worth knowing every problem in the world if it makes you feel hollow, hopeless, and depressed about what's going on? If it makes you want to curl up into a ball and numb yourself by playing Minecraft and rewatching The Office for the 10th time? If that's the case, and you don't have the emotional or mental energy to make changes in the world and end up in a form of digital escapism, then it really is no different than not knowing at all. It's not normal to need to know everything happening everywhere, but being ignorant is stigmatized in an age of infinite information. So what do? Do you just tune it all out and pretend the world is all rainbows and butterflies? Well, in my opinion, you need to pick your battles. You don't need to comment on everything that's happening. You don't need to share your opinion. You don't need to support every cause or movement worldwide, even if it does seem like it's a good one. Change happens in your own community, so pick your battles and get involved where you can actually make a difference. Getting involved deeply in your community is going to do a lot more for the world than sharing infographics every day on Instagram about every world social or political issue. Focusing on the one thing that really resonates and feels important to you, or a group of things if you have the capacity for it, will allow you to channel your energy into taking actions that make a big difference. Sure, if you could actually tune into all of these causes and make a reasonable difference with all of them, then I respect you. That's honestly a really impressive feat. But most people don't have the capacity for that, especially when you add in day-to-day responsibilities, jobs, relationships, and all the other stuff that makes life. So by splitting it up and trying to be locked in with everything happening globally, wastes a lot of valuable energy by spreading it so thin that you make no difference anywhere. The only thing you really do is sacrifice your own mental health in the process, which makes you even less likely to contribute positively to the causes that you're passionate about. So don't pretend, don't comment on things that society expects you to have a stance on, and focus on the things that matter to you. For me, I want to make at least one niche of the internet feel a little bit more alive. I want to help gamers explore the world around them and to escape their digital bubbles that I personally spent so many years of my life living in. I want to give hope for dating, to help people see that at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and to realize that letting corporations control your day-to-day life sacrifices a big part of what it means to be human. Sure, there are plenty of other things that I know about and that I could talk about on the channel, plenty of angles to take and perspectives to share to make sure that every issue and every person feels equally important to me, but if I did that, the value of this channel in this community would be lower, and I'd practically be a social news channel. I picked my mission, and I'm sticking with it to try to make a measurable difference. And again, I'm expecting some pushback from this, but I really do stand firm behind my point. I know I can make a difference with these things, so that's where I'm spending my energy instead of splitting it up onto a bunch of other things that take away from that goal. So to keep your sanity in an age of digital chaos, you need to pick your mission as well, to tune out the noise and find the things on the internet and in the world that are important to you. If you want to follow what your friends are doing and watch some content to pass the time, that's cool. If you want to stay up to date with the news and talk about it in the group chat, that's cool too. But by being on every social media platform, chatting in every text conversation, joining every Discord server, playing every game, watching every news, downloading every app, and also watching every single piece of content and entertainment available on your phone all at the same time, you're missing out on the real physical world. This level of immersion into our digital environments is taking away from our shared humanity. It's making us less socially competent, less socially interested, and less aware of our surroundings. We're so focused on what's on the news that we don't see what's right in front of us. We care so much about these social issues around the world that we ignore the homeless guy asking for money at the red light as we sit in traffic and scroll through TikToks telling us about political situations on the other side of the planet. Your phone is ruining your life, and if you don't create a more intentional, healthier relationship with it, your life will pass you by and you will never be able to truly connect with other humans. So how do you reclaim your life from the digital space and live in the moment? Well, start by not bringing your phone everywhere. Do you really need this little thing in your pocket at all times with the buzzer on so that you don't miss a thing? Do you really need to bring it to the gym so that you can look if anything new happened on Instagram between every set? Can you really not stand in line at a coffee shop and zone out for a second, like humans have always done? Elevators aren't that awkward, bro. You don't need to check the weather. These devices have become a giant digital crutch for people who want to avoid discomfort in the real world. When I was sitting at the mall waiting on my phone to get repaired, I genuinely felt like a weirdo because I had no way to show that I was doing something important. Wow, what a loser. This guy doesn't even have any friends that he could be texting right now. You don't need to bring your phone everywhere. You probably won't have an emergency where you need one, and you probably won't miss an important call. Stop being so attached to this little thing and leave it at home when you go to the grocery store or the coffee shop or whatever else. Doing this a little bit at a time will make it less uncomfortable to not have your phone on you. Without it, you will be bored, but you'll start to see the world around you. You'll notice the new buildings being built in your city, the way your neighbor replanted their flowers in front of their house, the trees that are starting to bloom as spring approaches. I mean, can you even describe what your neighbors look like? Would you recognize them in public? How much else are you missing by being so in tune with what's happening on the internet? How many conversations are you missing with girls that you can go on a date with? How many new friends? You get my point. From here, you'll see that it's really not that interesting on the internet. The real world is way cooler. Your brain will begin to slow down and things will feel more natural in your day-to-day life. Now, you need to work on your consumption habits when you are using your phone. Are you scrolling through the comments while watching this video? Why do you need to do that? Do you even know what you're looking at on TikTok right now? Can you name the last 5 videos that were on your feed? It's important to catch yourself and think why you're doing the things you are doing. Replace mindless consumption with intentional consumption. If you want to sit down and watch a video while you eat, that's cool, but watch the damn video. Don't click off or multitask on your phone while it's playing in the background. Becoming aware of what you're actually doing while you're on your phone makes you realize that most of the time you spend on it really is pointless and empty. Pick and choose which social media apps that you want to be involved with. Don't simply jump between every single one of them in the hopes that something stimulates you. If you want to use Instagram to keep up with your friends or Discord to be in touch with the community, that's cool, but realize the value that these apps bring and why you're using them. Don't just opt in to giving your attention to some pointless algorithm that feeds you noises to keep your mind at ease. If everyone does this, people will be more aware, the world will feel more alive, and everyone will begin to talk to each other again. Political issues will actually get resolved with people being able to have conversations and show up in public, rather than going on a multi-hour Twitter argument with some stranger in his basement in Nebraska who's never even interacted with the social movement in any way outside of the internet. Debates come back, people are able to understand each other's perspectives and see the humanity in people that they disagree with. I genuinely think the world would be a better place if every person spent just a little bit less time on their phones and stayed mindful with the things that they did when they were on them. So at the end of the day, it really is that damn phone. Get out in the world, interact with it, and live life like a normal human. Don't sacrifice that experience for scrolling and stimulating your brain just to see some loud noises that keep you feeling happy, to tune out all the chaos that you're seeing everywhere else, also on your phone. And if you do that, you'll have a lot more peace of mind. Now, real quick, I have a few announcements that I think are important for anyone that found value in this video. First of all, we have a Discord community in the description with thousands of members who enjoy talking about all of these things. It's a great place to make new friends online, and there's a whole section dedicated to personal growth. Secondly, all of these episodes are now going up daily on Spotify in podcast form if you want to listen to them without having to watch the videos. You can find a link to that in the description too, and I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a follow because your support goes a very long way with the podcast. I'm starting with the oldest episodes and uploading chronologically, so there's a lot of stuff on there that you probably haven't seen before. I also upload clips on TikTok now, so you can find that below as well for little reminders when you catch yourself drifting away from your goals. I know, I hate TikTok, I don't actually use it, and I don't actually follow anyone, but I feel like every single piece of content from this channel that goes onto TikTok, talking about mindful consumption and checking out of this virtual environment, is gonna bring some awareness to this, and it's probably a lot better for people to watch than whatever the new dance trend, brain rot, sexual garbage is that most people get recommended on TikTok. And finally, I know there's a lot today, but I made a free habit tracking app that you can also find in the description to help you build discipline in your life and use your phone in a more mindful way. It's a great way to keep track of everything, and it has an optional premium support model that helps to fund it and keep it free for everyone else. I really appreciate you all for tuning into my ramblings, and I hope you gained value from today's talk. Any of those things above, along with becoming a member on my Buy Me a Coffee page, helps to keep this channel running, so check them out if any of it sounded interesting. And let me know in the comments if you have any advice for people trying to escape the never-ending pull of their phones and social media. That's it for our conversation today, and we will talk again soon.